Hey everyone, it's Heather Nichols for Tailored Expressions. Today I'm sharing these cute plant-themed valentines that I created with the Let It Grow collection. It all starts with the Let It Grow stencil set and the coordinating dies. These were part of a kit this past year and now have been added to the regular TE collection. And introducing Let It Grow Valentine so that you can create Valentine-themed pots for your plants. I'll also be using the new Franz Forever Stamp and Die combo set for sentiments, the Knock on Wood background stamp, and the Heart Stacklets die collection. I'll be using my bitty blender brushes to do my stenciling and use pixie spray to hold my stencils in place. For ink, I'll be using kiwi and pea pod, avocado and olive, cilantro and poblano pepper, cherry pop and mulled wine, toffee, honey, and cinnamon, and Nocturne Versafine Clair. I'm using Happy Medium iridescent glitter with my Nuvo Media spatula. I'm adding splatters with chocolate truffle liquid watercolor, Dr. Peach Martin's Bleed Proof White ink, and a water brush. I'm embellishing my valentines with bits and pieces white clay hearts, adhering them with multi-medium matte. And finally, I'm using a few thicknesses of foam adhesive. The Let It Grow layering stencil set enables you to stencil 6 plants and 6 pots all at the same time, and then you can mix and match the plants and pots to create your own arrangements. Instead of using the pots from the set, I'll be using the Let It Grow Valentine stencil that enables you to create 6 Valentine-themed pots for your plants. Let's start out by creating the plants. I sprayed the back of my stencil with pixie spray, and then I'm layering the left side of the stencil over a piece of 3" by 6" sugar cube cardstock. Make sure not to miss stenciling the square guides on the stencil to help you line up the other layers. I'm stenciling this set of plants using kiwi ink for my first layer and pea pod for my second layer. I'm applying the ink with my bitty blender brush, moving the brush in both a clockwise and counterclockwise direction to make sure that I get all of the areas of the stencil filled. Once I'm done stenciling with the kiwi ink, I'll lift up the stencil and move it over to the right side. I'll use the square guides to get everything lined up perfectly. Once everything was all lined up, I applied pea pod ink through the stencil with a bitty blender brush. Before removing the stencil, I added sparkle using Happy Medium iridescent glitter. I used my Nuvo Media spatula to apply the Happy Medium through the stencil. I removed the stencil when I was done to reveal the completed look. I love the sparkly effect that the Happy Medium added. I did a few other color combinations for plants for my projects. I did cilantro and poblano pepper, and also avocado and olive. Now let's create the Valentine pots for our plants. I'm using a 3x6 piece of sugar cube cardstock, and I'm lining that up on the left side of the Let It Grow Valentine stencil. I'm stenciling my pots with cherry pop and mulled white ink, starting off with the cherry pop for the base of the pots. Once the bases of the pots are stenciled, I'll move the stencil over to the right side and stencil the details using mulled wine ink. Once again, before removing the stencil, I'll add sparkle using Happy Medium iridescent sparkle. I also did a few other color combos for the pots. I did mulled wine with cinnamon and also honey with cherry pop. I'll set all my pots and plants aside until the Happy Medium is completely dry. While the pots and plants are drying, let's create a few more elements for the Valentines. I'm stamping a piece of toffee cardstock with the Knock on Wood background stamp. I'm setting this up in my mini Misty. The background stamps fit perfectly in here. I picked up the stamp with the lid of my Misty, and then I'll add a piece of toffee cardstock into the Misty to stamp on. I inked up the stamp with toffee ink and then closed the lid of the Misty and used my Just Press tool to stamp the image onto the cardstock. Then I cut out hearts using a die from the Heart Stacklets die collection. To add a bit of extra definition to the hearts, I added shading around the edges with toffee ink. Next, I picked out several sentiments from the Franz Forever set and stamped them onto white cardstock using the Nocturne Versafine Clair ink. I cut out the sentiments with the coordinating dies. The Happy Medium is all dry, and so now I'm going to cut out all of the plants and the pots using the coordinating Let It Grow dies. The dies cut out all of the plants or pots that you stenciled with one pass through your die cut machine. You'll want to use the square guides to ensure that you get everything lined up perfectly. Next comes the fun part, taking all the little plants and adding them to all of the different little pots. Next, I added splatters. This is completely optional. I used chocolate truffle, liquid watercolor, and Dr. P.H. Martin's bleed-proof white ink to add the splatters. Now let's put these cards together. I created card bases for my Valentines with a 3" by 6" piece of cherry pop cardstock that I folded in half to create a 3x3 card. To the front of each of these cards, I added one of the hearts that I stamped with the knock-on wood background stamp. Then for each of the cards, I added 2 of the plants and 1 of the sentiments. I adhered everything with foam adhesive in the different thicknesses to add dimension. Finally, I embellished each of the Valentines with the Bits and Pieces white clay hearts. I adhered the hearts into place with multimedia matte. My Valentines are done and they turned out just so cute. I love the sparkle, I love the dimension, and these plants are just so much fun to create with. You can find the Let It Grow collection, as well as all of the other supplies that I used to create my Valentines in the Tailored Expressions web store at tailoredexpressions.com. Thanks so much for joining me today, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our crafty videos.